I discovered this place. This is what nature does. I discovered this place. It's on the border of British Columbia and Alberta. It's a small village community of like 200 to 300 people with a
Right.
train track. And this place is called the Field.
The
So I
field.
just the Field. And it's literally where the border of Alberta and British Columbia splits. So I went, and there's an information center. I went to the information center, and I came out, and there's a bridge with water running underneath it. Nothing deep, like like not even an inch, and like a little creek. So I looked around. I'm like, this is interesting. So I got off the bridge. There was no path. I just jumped off. I went and I sat on the rocks, and
Right.
I looked around, like I turned around and I felt like I was at home. And for 5, 6 years straight, I did that once a year. I haven't done that since, the last 7 years. And
Yeah.
I kid you not, the ideas and the inspiration and the storytelling that came to my mind in those moments, it has never happened anywhere else.
It
It's
just
just
opened
amazing.
your mind up.
Yeah, it's just the nature how it just kind of clears everything up for you, and you're just completely inspired and wowed at how insignificant that you are, and you look around you and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
I urge you to go there if you ever have a chance. It's
No,
beautiful.
I wrote that down. I'm going to check that out because I remember back early in the late 70s when I went snow skiing for the very first time in Snowmass, and I
Mm,
said I have to buy a place. I mean, you're up there with God, and no one's controlling you. You're free. And
yeah.
my mother thought I was crazy, and I bought a place that next year in 78, and I kept it for like 30 years. And it was a place to escape. And you don't look at it that way until you just mention that. You don't think of it. And I think that that's the thing that Into the Wild brought to me. And you look back and you think how meaningful the film is, and how it's like you said, well, you got a perfect thing. I'm going to buy you a car. I don't need a car.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That was
I don't
that
need
was great.
anything.
Yeah.
I don't, it's like, I'm going to Alaska, Alaska. What are you going to do when you're in Alaska? I'm going to be free, And it was like we experienced some of those difficulties that he had when we were making the movie, because we found Sean and I, and well, what happened? When we first went up there the very first time, it was like probably almost 0 degrees, and we were in uh, you know, we were in snowmobiles and full on garb of it's like you look like the Michelin Man, because it was so cold, and it was like 28 miles from the main road to the bus. And so it was all our first time seeing it. And Sean was like in the front pack, and we're following behind. And I don't know, there's probably 4 or 5 snowmobiles. And we get up, we finally get to it, and we stop about a couple 100 feet away. And Sean goes, I need a moment. We go, no problem, you know? So uh, he goes in there, and he's in there about 20 minutes by himself. And then he came out. He said, "Now y'all go on in there and everything." He said, I came with blessings from his mother, and I brought provisions for all the lost souls that find their way here. That this bus is a symbolism of freedom, and helping the youth, and it was magical. We each spent our time in the bus, and then when we said, well, we're not going to film in this bus. It's too sacred. So Derek, you go find some another bus or whatever, and we'll make our own bus. We'll find a place that's very similar, and we we went on snowmobiles all around. The main thing was find somewhere that was near a river, and then a hill down below. So we found this place, and we'd gone, and we'd been out all day. And Sean was like, he was like a kid, he's like climbs this mountain hill, it's 30 feet high or 25 feet high. and the snow's up to your crotch, and it's like 3 feet of snow, fresh snow, and he's like climbing up there, and he's like, "Hey, come on up, come on, hurry!" When he gets up there, and there's two moose right there at the top, he goes, "This is it. This is the place. They led me here, and we're gonna put the bus right here." And then there's like, "Okay, but where's right here?" Because we're not, we think we know where we are. So then later we go back, we get in a helicopter. Sean and I fly overhead and find our tracks. And now we know exactly where it is. And now we got to figure out how to get there. So we get there and we're going to set it up because we shot 4 different seasons, not a
Yeah.
normal thing that a movie company does. Okay. But Sean goes, "No, I have to shoot there at spring, summer, winter, fall." And so we did that. And so we, made it, got the bus all set. And then how are we going to get it in there? So then the highway railing, those guardrails,
Yep. Yep.
we turned them flat and we made a sled and we put the bus on a sled and we pulled it in with a bulldozer. And then I said, "Well, no, 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 it has to be like this, not like that." And the guy from Alaska thought I was crazy. He goes, "Yeah, but I mean, look how close this is." I said, "It has to be right on these stakes. This is very important." And, because the way the sun is and the relation to the deal. And as you saw when we did the scene with the bear, the
Mm-hmm.
bear goes down the hill. So everything was good and it was all great. And then we came back in the spring and it's like, "Oh boy, how are we going to get to the bus?" Couldn't cross the river. The same with Emile Hirsch. Same with Christopher McCandless. He couldn't get across the Swift River. So we had to build a bridge. And then, so we built the bridge so we could get the crew in and out. And then, it was like one little thing after another. And then, we learned from the local greens guy there about the flowers that he ate. It's like the flowers look exactly the same, except the backside of the flower has veins on the poisonous ones and no veins on the other one. Well, if your vision is gone or you're delirious and all you see is the front side of the thing, you're going to eat that bush. You're going to eat that flower because you're starving. But, we made it as real as possible. I know that the family, the daughter came to us when we were in Astoria and watched this film, and it was pretty emotional, and it was like we heard a little bit more of the family story from the daughter than what was in the book, and that the whole double life of the father was something that Christopher was like not wasn't cool with in a sense. So that's where part of it left him on his journey. And we had a moment, Sean had a moment to think about. I said, "Well, you got to shoot, you have to shoot what you believe is right. And even if it's not in the book or if it's in the book or whatever." But the sister was there saying, "This is what kind of happened during that time." And so, and I think that originally Sean's meeting with them came up to a point where the family said, "Hey, we're gonna make this movie." And the daughter said, "Well, as long as you don't mind the truth." So I the truth came out as we were making the movie a little bit more. And I remember a moment that, it's very emotional when the father broke down towards the end in the middle of the street. Well, when we went to the premiere, his parents sat right in front of us, my wife,
Mm.
and, just watching their reaction was like unbelievable. Because I think you go into I think maybe his father, didn't see anything wrong with the way that he grew up and the way he raised his family and stuff like that. And I don't know if the movie, you know, transited into, was I really like that, or I didn't realize I was like that, but the meaningful things I remember the time when we were we would scout, and it wasn't a continual shooting. It was we would I would scout. We would say, here's where we're going to shoot. We go shoot 2 or 3 weeks, and then we would stop and wait a time, and then so it was kind of that journey the whole time. And I was still kind of working another project at the time, so I'd go back and do a concept meeting, and then I'd go scout some more. Then I'd go meet with Sean. So it was really funny because it was like, Derek, you're getting the best side of it. And I said, well, I'm not really getting the best side of it because I'm not getting to see it, all the action going on. I remember one time we got to Alaska, and it was during the summer, and we're in the same hotel. Emile stayed in the same hotel. Everybody kind of stayed together the whole time, that little group. And so we go in at like 6 o'clock in the morning. We're filming and shooting away, and then it was like, wow, looking at it, I'm there, and it's like, wow, it's already like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. We're still shooting. And somebody goes, hey, Derek, why don't you mention to Sean, and we're on like 15 hours now. And I said, hey, Sean, you think we've shot enough for the day? Because it's like 15 hours or so. He goes, it is? Well, I didn't even realize it. I mean, the magic hour is like a 4-hour magic hour, And then I remember we're going back to the hotel, and it's like, hey, why don't we stop in and have a cocktail? I said, it's like 11:30 at night. But, we became a family on that show, and everybody that was involved has always been connected from that tissue, from that show.